Righty. So good morning, everybody. My name is Sierra St. Arnold. Today, we are going to be kind of going over how to get out of your own head. I know a lot of people struggle with this and you think too much about things instead of just getting stuff done. So I kind of want to get into that today. Like I said, I'm going to have the chat, where you guys can send it, but I'm not going to be looking at it until the end. And I only have an hour. So I'm going to try to go through this as quickly as I can and still give you guys all the information. So I have been reading a lot of like self-help books and personal development and all of that stuff. So I wanted to kind of share what I have learned from that with you guys. So to start off, like I said, my name is Sierra St. Arnold. I am a gold consultant here. And so to start, I just wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit of background about me and my story. I'm going to keep it short and sweet, hopefully, so that we can get through this. But I started in this business in December of last year, the very end of December of last year. I was working a full-time job. I was working 7 to 4 every day. I absolutely hated that job. I worked in social services and people just did not appreciate what I was doing. And I didn't feel like I was helping people. And like I said, I just hated that job. Every morning I woke up and I didn't want to go. And I was like, I need to do something else with my life because this is not bringing me any joy. I'm not happy. I don't like what I'm doing. I felt like I had like no purpose at the time. So I started looking for other jobs. And I found this. And so I started this part-time while I was still working full-time because I still obviously had bills to pay and all that kind of stuff. It was just me, my husband, and our dog. So we didn't have, a whole lot to pay for, but we did have, bills and all that good stuff. So I started this. My husband was like, yeah, go for it, whatever. And when I started, I got my first client within about 3 weeks. And then, it was people there. I wasn't really doing what I needed to do to be successful in this business. And I kind of had to make the decision for myself, like, hey, I am not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to I'm not going to do this half. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to do everything I can to make this work so that I can quit my job. And then I found out that we were moving for my husband's job. And I knew when I moved, I didn't want to find another job while we were here. I didn't want to have to worry about, going job, finding a schedule, making our schedules work together to where we would still have time together and all of that stuff. So I was like, you know what, when we move, like this is going to be my full-time gig. And I'll be honest with you guys, when I started this full-time, I was 1000% not making full-time money. And so I knew that I had to really get my butt in gear and do well and be coachable and be successful so that I didn't have to worry about finding another job. So I will say now it is about 4 months since I took this full-time, and I have now replaced my income from my previous full-time job. And like I said, I'm making more than what I was making before. So as long as you are willing to put in the effort and get out of your comfort zone and do what needs to be done, you can be in the same position. So to get started, one thing I want to say is you have to identify what the problem is. What are you in your head about? And you guys can feel free to put some stuff in the chat, but these are some things that I have heard the most often is that you don't have enough time, or your family and friends don't support you, or they don't believe in you, or you're not making any money immediately. So what's the point? I'm not going to keep doing this if I'm not making any money. You work a full-time job. So you, again, kind of goes back to you don't have enough time for this. You have kids. So a lot of this goes back into I don't have time. I don't know where to start. I don't have, a schedule or whatever the case may be. Some people say, I don't have any experience. I don't travel. So I don't know what I'm talking about. And then a lot of you say, I'm just trying this out to see if it works. And what I have to say to that is if you come into this with the mindset, I'm just going to try it out until it works, you're giving yourself the opportunity and you're allowing yourself to be like, it's okay if I fail, which I don't know about y'all, but I don't like to fail. I want to succeed that I do. So if you have just started, if you are new to this business and you're just trying it out, I challenge you to change your mindset to, instead of just trying this out, changing that to, I have to make this work. Because for me, that's kind of what I was in. I was trying it out, seeing if I liked it, whatever. And then it came to a point where like, no, this has to work out for me because I don't want to do X, Y, and Z anymore. So I challenge you guys all to that. And I see the chat going off, but I'm going to wait till the end to read those just so I can get through this. But like I said, I challenge you guys to change your mindset. And that's kind of what I'm going to be going over in this, because really this whole business and being successful in general, whether it's in this business or in something else, it's all in your mindset. If you believe in yourself and you believe that you can do all of these things, then you absolutely can. If you tell yourself, well, I don't know if I can do that, I can't do that, I'm not as good as this person or that person, then you're not going to be as good as that person. But I know for me, like I have people in this business that I look up to, and I want to be like those people, but I want to be better than those people too. So I am always trying to, as David McCovey says, copy the right cat. I'm always trying to do that. But I also want to do more than what the people I look up to are doing, because this is what I love to do. And I want this to be, my career for, the foreseeable future. And I want to create a life that I enjoy because of this business. And I have already been able to do that in some ways. So kind of going off of that, when you have these, what I'm going to call excuses, because in my opinion, that's exactly what they are. For those of you that say you don't have enough time, everybody has the same 24 hours in the day. So you have to decide what you're going to do with your 24. And what I mean by that is, like I said, everybody has 24 hours in a day. Somebody doesn't have, 22, and somebody has 27, and that's why they're more successful. We all have 24 hours in a day. Some of us are just a lot more disciplined than others. And I know when I first started, I was horrible at time management, and I had to kind of really get that under control. Like I said, I was working 5 days a week, 7 to 4. When I came home 2 days a week, I took my dogs to training for an hour. It was a 30-minute drive to and from work. So that was taken out of my day. And then I still wanted time for myself and to hang out with my husband and to hang out with my friends and do all these things. And a lot of times I put those things before making my business successful. And I'm not saying don't do that ever, but if you're always putting other stuff before your business, then how can you expect your business to, flourish and succeed and make you money and do all the things that you want it to do? If you're not willing to put in the time for your business, then why is your business going to do that for you? So I always suggest that you make a schedule and a to-do list with the most important things you need to get done at the top of that list. So I know for me, when I worked full time, every day I still had a to-do list for when I got home. And even if I was only working on my business for 30 minutes, that was better than nothing. And that is kind of what got me started with, I have 30 minutes here, I have 20 minutes there, little times in between. And I know some people don't have a set schedule every day. Every day is different, especially if you have kids, which I don't. So I'm going to go ahead and preface that I don't have kids to worry about. But I did have a schedule. I had me time. I had my dogs. I had my husband. I had all these other things that I wanted to spend time on. So I made sure that I made a schedule and a to-do list every single day. I always make mine the night before so that when the day comes, I already know what I need to get done. I don't have to sit there and think about it. I don't have to spend my 20 minutes that I have free making the to-do list. It's already done, and I can go ahead and get started on my work. So I always suggest that you make a list with the most important things first and then kind of go from there. And if you don't get all of those things done, it's okay. Move it to the next day or move it to the next time available that you have, or whatever the case may be. But have an idea of what you need to get done. Don't go into it blindly, because then you're just going to be wasting time. I also always recommend giving yourself a deadline to get things done. So I know for me, if I have three days to do it, I'm going to wait till that third day to get it done. So if you know that it needs to be done, like right now, tell yourself it has to be done by the end of the day. Or if you know that you can wait, a week to do it, give yourself a week to do it. Because like I said, if you give yourself however long, if you give yourself 6 weeks, that's how long it's going to take you. I don't know. Personally, I don't know anyone that does everything, right away. I am very much a procrastinator, and I feel like I do better under pressure. So I always try to give myself, exactly how much time I need to get it done. And then I get it done in that time. I don't have to worry about, well, I can wait 5 weeks to do it. Like, no, I'm getting it done now because it needs to be done now. I also recommend determining what part of your lifestyle is hindering you from having time to work your business, and do less of that. So whether it's you sit and watch Netflix for 3 hours when you come home from work, or you really like to sleep until 11 o'clock, or, whatever the case may be, you really like to go out with your friends every single day. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with those, but if that is what is preventing you from having enough time, then don't do as much of that. If you normally watch 3 hours of Netflix, maybe watch an hour and a half and spend that other hour and a half working on your business, or have Netflix on in the background while you're working. For me, I love to sleep in. I don't like to wake up early, but I have made it a task of mine to be up by 8:30 every morning, which to some people may not seem early, but I work from home. I don't have any obligations. I could sleep till lunchtime if I wanted to. And I know that if I did, I wouldn't get anything done. So I wake up at 8:30 every single morning, set my alarm, and I get my day started. I don't lay there on my phone. I get up, I do my morning routine that I have, and I get into it. Because like I said, I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't have enough time just because I want to sleep in every day, because I do have the time. I'm just not using it for the things I should be using it for. For those of you that say your family and friends don't support you or don't believe in you, I don't know if you guys saw my post on the Facebook groups the other day, but basically what it was is my parents own their own business. They travel a lot for work, or they have employees that travel a lot for work. My mom knows I'm a travel agent. She's known I'm a travel agent since day one, and my mom still books all of their hotel rooms on her own. And she texted me the other day a picture she had like wrote on a sticky note, contact Sierra for all hotel accommodations from now on. Like, my own mom knows, and like, my mom is my best friend. So for those of you who say your family and friends don't support you, find somebody who does. Because I'll be honest with you guys, I've booked almost $80,000 of travel this year, and less than 1,000 of that is with my family and friends. Everybody else are strangers that have found me on TikTok or Facebook or through Google, or found me, like, I met in person at the grocery store or whatever the case may be. Literally less than 1,000 of that is from my family. So I don't want to hear that excuse from people, because I don't book for family and friends, and I'm very successful at this. So my question to you guys is, do you support and believe in yourself? Because that is where it starts. If you don't support and believe in yourself, then why would someone else support you or believe in you? So you have to have the mindset of, I can do this. I'm the best travel agent there is. I can do anything that I set my mind to, and nobody is going to stand in my way of that. Whether they support me or whether they don't, I'm going to get to where I want to be. So that is my recommendation to you guys. Like I said, I know it's easier said than done for a lot of people, but every morning wake up and tell yourself, I can do this. I am the best travel agent. And it's all in your mindset. If you continue to tell yourself these things, then you're going to start believing them, and other people are going to see that. For people that don't support you, use that as your fuel to prove them wrong. If people are like, oh, you can't do this, nobody uses a travel agent, you can't make any money doing that, use that as, yes, I can, and yes, I'm going to. And then later on down the road, when you are making money and you are successful with this, and then they want to know all your secrets, then that's kind of, I don't know about you guys, but I'm very much I told you so, I told you I could do it kind of person. So use that as your fuel to prove them wrong and show them that you can be successful, instead of letting it bring you down. Because that is what a lot of this comes down to, is instead of seeing it in a negative way, using it as fuel, or using it as your push to get where you want to be and where you need to be. And then find people who do support you and believe in you. There are, thousands and thousands of agents on this team that are here to cheer you on and support you and tell you that you're wonderful and congratulate you when you bring on a business partner or have a booking or whatever the case may be. So find those people and surround yourself with those people, whether, like I said, it's other agents, whether your clients are like, you are the greatest person, thank you so much, I will never book a trip without you again. For me, my spouse is very supportive. I know that's not the case for everyone, but if they are, find those people and cling to them, because the more support you have and the more people that believe in you, the more you're going to do that for yourself. But if you don't have any of those people, which I know you have somebody, because this whole team is here to support you, but if you don't, be that person for yourself. And I know sometimes that sucks, but that's just what you got to do sometimes. For those of you that say you're not making any money, which was me at first, I was like, I'm not making any money. What am I going to do? Like, I'm booking these trips, but I have to wait, 30 to 60 days to receive my commissions, and their trip's not for 6 more months. So what am I going to do in the meantime? What I have to say to those of you that say you're not making any money, are you advertising your business in multiple places every single day? If all you're doing is posting mock bookings, that's great, but that's not always enough. So I know personally for me, I post mock bookings twice a week. I share them every single day into groups, morning, afternoon, and night. I post on TikTok at least once a day. I post on LinkedIn at least once a day. I leave business cards everywhere I go. I always leave them, at the restaurant that I eat at, or at the nail salon, or wherever it is. I'm always telling people what I do. So I can't say that, oh, well, I didn't do enough. Like, I am doing absolutely everything I can to advertise my business and get my name out there, so people know what I do, so that I can make money. This kind of goes into that same thing. Do you tell everyone you come in contact with about your business, or are you a secret agent? And I know for me, I used to be a secret agent, and my booking showed that. I had maybe one booking a month, if that. And now I'm booking, 5, 6, 7 trips every single month. So it's one of those things where I was nervous. I'm like, I don't know what to say to people. I don't know what to do. And one day I was like, you know what, screw this. I'm just going to go out and start talking to people. And that's what I do. When I go to the coffee shop to work sometimes, or when I go to the grocery store, everybody that I have a conversation with, I'm like, here's my business card. Here you go. And even if they never book with you, they may know somebody that wants to book with you or something like that. At least you are exhausting all your efforts. And that's kind of the way that I look at it, if you're not exhausting all your means and doing absolutely everything you can to get your business out there, then you're probably, no one's going to know what you do if you're not trying. So it all comes back to you and what you are doing. Do you incorporate instant commissions into your bookings? And I personally do this with rental cars a lot. So even if I'm booking a package through Vax, if they need a rental car, I book that through Evo Rewards. I can usually add 50 to 100 in instant commissions, and I make it that way. So you don't necessarily have to advertise instant commissions. Obviously you can, but you don't have to do that. If you are already getting bookings, you can always make, one little part of that booking an instant commission if you need money right now. Like the other day, I booked a package to Hawaii, and they do need a rental car for one of the islands they're going to be on. So I marked that up from Evo Rewards. It was like $75 extra that I could charge. That's my phone bill for the month. I just made that right then and there. Took me maybe 5 minutes, and I just paid my phone bill for the month. So even if you have a lot of, packages, always try to incorporate instant commissions in some way if you can. I know for me personally and some other agents on our team, we charge fees up front. I know that's not for everybody, but if you are like, I need money right now, even if you just start out charging, $20, $25, that's all I charge. I charge $25 up front. That's what I get. And then I bring in quite a bit of money that way. So even if the trips aren't for several months, I'm taking a little bit upfront so I can pay my bills now. And my last piece of advice, I guess I would say, is have you given team building a chance? And I know that team building is not for everybody, and I completely understand that. But if you were like, I need to make money right now, that is a great way to earn extra money. And that is a great way to continue to earn extra money. That's kind of like a given amount every single month. It's not always, to the penny exactly the same, but you can get an idea of what your range is going to be. And then it'll also cover your monthly expense. So even if you're not making any money, you're not necessarily spending any money either, because it's just coming out of what you're earning for residuals. So that is always another option. And like I said, I understand that's not for everybody, but I personally really, really enjoy it, because I knew, if I enjoy this and I am changing my life because of this business, I want to have other people have that opportunity too. So why would I not share the business with other people? And then last, what are you doing to stand out from other small businesses and travel agents? So I know for me, my big thing was TikTok at first, and I have done a training on that if you guys are interested in it. It is on YouTube, but I started doing that, and a lot of other people were not doing it the way I was doing it. So I know a lot of people post their mock bookings and stuff like that on TikTok, but I used it more as an educational platform to kind of explain to people, how does this work? What do travel agents do? Why should you use a travel agent? All of those things. So even though other travel agents were on TikTok, I wasn't seeing a lot of people that were posting, this is why you should use us. It was mainly just, here's the deal I can find for you. So one of those things, like I said, what are you doing to stand out? Because if you are doing exactly the same thing that every single other travel agent is doing, then why should someone pick you over them? And that standing out portion doesn't necessarily have to be, posting on social media. It can be just your relationship with clients. It doesn't have to be something super extravagant, but if you are providing a better service than someone else, they are going to choose you every single time. So just make sure that you find your one little thing. Like I said, it doesn't have to be some big extravagant difference. It can just be, that you're really funny with your clients and they really relate to you. And that's all it takes for them to book with you, because they understand who you are as a person and they feel like they're friends with you instead of, doing business with you, if that makes sense. So find what you can do or offer that is different than everybody else and use that to your advantage. And then last, what type of relationship are you building with potential clients? If you have people that message you on Facebook and you do everything over Messenger and you never speak to them on the phone, you never ask them how they're doing, you never ask them if they have questions, then they're probably not going to want to book with you again. They're probably not going to recommend you to other people, because they want to know that you care about them as a person and not that they're just, money coming into your bank account. Because I know if I felt that way, I would probably never book with you again. I want to know that you are actually there to help me. You are actually there to find me the best value for my money, and you actually care about me having a good time on my trip, whether it's just for fun or it's a honeymoon or a wedding or whatever it is. I want to know that you actually give a crap about me as your client and that you don't just see me as a way to make money, because that's one big thing. People want that relationship with you. So make sure you are creating a good one. For those of you that work full time and you say you don't have time because you're always at work, you know what your schedule is. I would say probably 90% of the time you guys know what your schedule is. Of course, there's always those last minute things where you get called in and things like that, and things can change at any moment. But figure out what parts of each day that you can spend working on your business. As I said before, 20 minutes is better than nothing. So I know for me, when I worked full time, I knew that I woke up at 6 a.m. I had to get ready and I had to leave by 6:30, be at work by 7. And then I had my lunch break from 12 to 1 and I got off work at 4 o'clock. So from 12 to 1, I went home, I did my lunch, and I would do as much as I could in the 15 minutes that I was home on my business, just so I could say that I did something. And then in the afternoons when I would come home, I knew I would get home around 4:30. And, obviously every day is different, but for the most part, I had an idea of what I needed to get done each day and how much time I could spend on my business. So figure out what parts of your day you have to spend on your business. And even if it's 20 minutes, that's better than nothing. I also told people at my job about what I did. So I turned them into clients. I actually booked a trip for someone that I used to work for twice now. So even if you're like, oh, I don't want them to know I have another job, why not? They can't necessarily get rid of you for having another job, I would say. If you need the money, you need the money. If you have to get a second job, you have to get a second job. It is what it is. So tell everybody that you work with what you do, pass out your business cards, give them your information, because most of the time you probably talk to those people on a daily basis anyway. It'll probably just come up in conversation. At least that's what happened for me. So turn those people into clients. And then my last question to you is, do you enjoy that job? Because if not, this kind of goes back to use it as fuel to make your business work so you don't have to go to that job anymore. For me, I had to decide what I wanted more, to keep working that full-time, I said 8 to 5, but my schedule was 7 to 4 with, all these benefits that were so great and all this stuff I really didn't care about or need, or that really weren't as great as they tried to make it seem. Or do I want to work on my own terms, make my own schedule, be able to do what I want when I want? So you have to kind of decide, which one do you want more? And for me, it was to leave that job because I hated that job. I never wanted to go. I did not enjoy it. I was not fulfilled. My mental health was at an all-time low. Like, it was horrible for me. And so I knew that I had to make this work, so I never had to do that again. So I used it as my fuel. Like, okay, if I don't get this done today, like, I'm going to have to go get a job because we got bills to pay. And I didn't want to do that. So I was like, let me work really hard for myself instead of really hard for somebody else, because I like to make my own rules. I like to do what I want. And I'm sure most of you probably do too. For those of you who have kids, like I said before, I don't relate to this. I don't have kids. I just have dogs, but they are like my kids. And I know it's different, but I am very busy because of my dogs. So kind of like I said before, make your to-do list ahead of time with the most important things to do and squeeze in that time every chance you get. So if your kids are eating breakfast in the morning and you have, 5 minutes while they're eating and you don't have to help them, post your mock booking and share it 5 times. That doesn't take a long time. If you have kids that are in school, work while they're in school, or work while they're doing school work at home, or whatever the case may be, as long as obviously you're not having to help them. If you have kids that nap, obviously you have other things to do while they nap, but spend, 10, 15 minutes at a time working while they nap, while they're not, taking up your time and needing your attention and things like that. So I'm not saying that, if your kid takes a 2-hour nap, I'm not saying you have to spend that whole 2 hours, because I know that you guys have other things to do around the house and whatever the case may be, but take some small portion of that free time you do get to work your business. And it's going to suck at first. You're going to feel like you're so overwhelmed and you're so busy, but in the end, it will pay off and you will be able to just relax and hang out with your kids and not really have to worry about it as much. If you have kids that are in school, share your business with their friends' parents, with their sports teams, with their teachers, whatever the case may be, whoever they interact with. Kids are a great way to get your business out there because people don't like to say no to kids. Send your kids around with business cards, send business cards to school with your kid to give out to everybody, whatever it is. Make your kids do some work for you, use them for free, that way you don't have to pay for it and you can still get your business out there. It's a great way to network with other people because I know people love to take their kids on vacation. And again, you want to use this as your fuel to create a better, more flexible life for yourself so you can actually spend time with your kids and be there for your kids. Because I know for me, both of my parents were entrepreneurs. They worked from home. My parents were there for everything. And I'm very, very blessed and grateful for that. And I don't have kids yet, but when I do, I want to be that same type of parent. I want to be there for every school event, every practice, every game. I don't want them to have to worry. Are they going to be able to pick me up on time today? Like, I don't want my kids to have to worry about that. And I don't have kids. I'm not planning on having kids anytime soon, but I know that that is a goal for myself and my future family. So I'm going to work hard for it now. because I don't want any of that to happen, because I had friends where they were worried like, oh, well, my mom can't come to this game today. And I never had to worry about that. And I'm, like I said, I'm so blessed for that. So I want that for my kids. So that is part of my why. I don't have them yet. I don't plan on having them anytime soon, but I know that that's what I want when I do have children. So I'm using that now to fuel what I do and make sure that I work hard for my future self and my future family and all of that good stuff. For those of you that don't have any experience, ask questions to other agents, to your mentor on trainings, whatever it is, ask question. There is no such thing as a dumb question, a stupid question. I know when I started, I asked questions quite literally all day, every day. And still to this day, I have questions and I don't know the answer to everything. I have agents that come to me that I mentor and they ask me questions and I'm like, I don't know, but let's find somebody who does. And if you go to someone and they don't have the answer, someone else will have the answer for you. So make sure you ask questions, and that way you can learn. Because if you just sit back in the corner and you're like, I don't know how to do this, I'm not going to do anything to figure out how to do this, then you're not going to succeed. And that it's stupid. Just ask the question. Nobody cares. Nobody thinks it's a stupid question. We're all here to help you. We're all here to support you and make you the best travel agent that you can be. Attend trainings every single day if you can. I know some people have schedule conflicts and things like that, but 90% of these trainings, I would say, if not more, are recorded. So go back and watch them, even if you can only watch, 10 minutes at a time. Figure out what time you do have again, and make sure you use that to your ability. Go back and learn something. Go back and rewatch a training that you really liked. Or if you don't understand something, go back and watch it again to see if it makes more sense the second time. And like I said, if you can't get on every day, obviously I understand that, but try to attend as many trainings as you can. That way you can learn all there is to learn. And you're never going to know everything, but you can learn a lot just by sitting on trainings, whether it's a Q&A. I used to sit on Q&As all the time. I didn't have questions, but I listened to everybody else's questions. And then when I needed it in the future, I didn't have to, go searching for it. I was like, oh, okay, I remember that from this Q&A. So just little trainings like that, even stuff that I think I know everything about, I still try to get on as many trainings as I can. Another thing for those of you that say, I don't travel, so I don't have any experience, we get some really awesome agent perks. So if you are able to travel, use your perks and get stuff for really, really cheap, so that you not only gain the experience of traveling, but you can also promote it as a place for your clients to go. And you can explain, what all the benefits of these places are. So I know when I went to Mexico at the beginning of September, I spent like $800 for like 5 days. And originally it was like over $2,000. So yes, $800 can still be very expensive for some people. I'm lucky enough that that wasn't an issue for me. But when you think about the savings and all the experience and the clients that I gained from that while I was there, I got 2 destination wedding clients. So both of them have, approximately 20 rooms that they're going to be booking. So that trip paid for itself probably 3 times over, if not more. In the commission that I will make off of those weddings. So that is another way, when you're on vacation, talk to people, ask them who booked their trip, ask them, who booked your trip. And if they booked it on their own, ask them, give them your card, tell them that you would love to book their next trip for them. I have gained several clients that way. So use our perks and, the free cruise that we get. Obviously you have to pay taxes and fees, but for the most part, it's pretty inexpensive. For the Disney tickets, if you get the free ones, go do that, because you're not spending any money and you can meet so many people and advertise so much for your business. And it truly, truly will change the game for you. I promise. Another thing, Google is your best friend. If you have a question and you can't find the answer, you can always Google it. I know I use Google quite literally every day. So if I have a client that is looking for something specific, like a couple weeks ago, I had someone, they wanted to go to Punta Cana and they wanted a swim out suite. That's all they cared about. So what did I do? I Googled swim out suite, all inclusives in Punta Cana, and a whole list came up. So I knew not to look at anything else but those, because nowhere else was going to have what they wanted. Same thing for like COVID restrictions and vaccine requirements and things like that. You can always find that on Google. Because I'll be honest, a lot of times when people ask me those questions, I don't know. I have to Google it. So if I'm going to have to Google it anyway, then you can go ahead and Google it yourself. And you can find so much information on there. Obviously, like reviews and stuff like that are also on Google. So if you're like, I've never been to this resort, I don't know if this is a good one, you can obviously ask other people, ask other agents, things like that. But you can also go on Google and look at reviews of the resort on Google and TripAdvisor and all of those things to see like, hey, do other people like this place? If I were going on a vacation, what would I think of these reviews? So I use Google for quite literally everything. And then last, if you don't have any experience, try it anyway. You never know unless you try. So give it your all, give it everything you have, put all of your efforts and everything like that into it, and then see how it turns out. Because if you just go into it, well, I don't know how to do this, then you're never going to figure out how to do it if you don't put in a little bit of effort. So I always suggest trying it anyway. And then last, for those of you that are just trying this out, make the decision to succeed. A lot of times we pretend that we've decided to do something, but really we're just trying it out until we don't really like it, or until we get uncomfortable, or until it doesn't go how we want it to. So for those of you that are like, oh, I'm just trying this out, I might just try to get my money back. I don't really know what I'm doing. Tell yourself, I am going to succeed at this, and don't give yourself another option to fail. If you only give yourself the choice to succeed, and you truly feel that with your whole being, I'm going to be good at this, I'm going to succeed, I'm going to make money, I'm going to do all of these things with this business, then you are. So again, it's all in your mindset. If you tell yourself, well, I'm just trying this out, then that's all you're going to allow yourself to do is try it out. You're not going to go, full force into it and be successful at it, because you're just trying it out. And then when it gets uncomfortable, you quit. When a client gets a little bit of attitude with you, or if a flight gets canceled and you don't know what to do and you get uncomfortable, then you quit. So give yourself no option but to succeed and do well. Because do I like going on the phone to people when their flight just got canceled? Because it's not my fault, and we both know that, but they're frustrated and they're upset, and I need to fix it right away. And that's stressful, and I don't really like talking on the phone, but I do it anyway because I need this to work. I don't have another option but to make this work. Go all in with what you're doing, and do not give up. Do whatever it takes to make it work. So if it means you have to wake up an hour earlier every day to work your business, do that. If it means that you have to skip out, on a friend dinner, once in a while, do that. If it means that you have to stay up a little bit later to get a quote done, do that. Do whatever it takes to make it work, and don't let yourself give excuses as to why you can't do this or why you can't succeed, because like I said, it's not always going to be pretty. And sometimes you work more hours than you want to, and you don't have time to do other things, and that sucks. But at the end, when you've got all these clients booked and you're making all this money and you have all the freedom to do what you want and you can travel when you want, then it will be worth it. And I know, in the moment, it may not seem like that, but I am living it right now. I'm in the spot that I wanted to be in 4 months ago. And it's crazy how much my life has changed and my business has changed since I decided, no, this has to work. I am not giving myself an option to do well at this. I'm not giving myself an option to fail. Not on my watch. I am going to do whatever it takes to make this work. And like Amy Cabrera always says on her prospect calls, treat your $69.95 a month like it's $69,000 a month, and see how your effort. Or you stay up a little later at night even though you're tired to get it done. And it sucks, and I hate the whole hustle culture or whatever, but like I said, sometimes that's what it takes to get to where you need to be in the end. So treat it like you're spending literally, your efforts are different, because if you're like, oh well, it's just $70, then that's all it's ever going to be is $70. If you're treating it like it's, again, $69,000, you're going to be like, oh crap, I'm spending so much money on this, I'm not going to let it go to waste. I'm going to make it work, and I'm going to make my money back for me. And then last, act as if this is your only option to get where you want to be in life, and treat it as such. So kind of going back to what I said, this is my option. Yes, I could go find another job. Yes, I could probably find another work from home job that I can kind of make my own schedule and things like that. But I don't want to have to do all that. I like what I do. I like to travel. I love all the people on our team, everything like that. I don't want to be doing anything else. So this is my own. Those of you who work full time, or you're like, well, I don't really know about this and whatever, that's fine. But if you want this to work, you have to treat it like you don't have another option. And I know for a lot of people, you wait until your back is against the wall to do what you need to do, but you don't have to do that. You can just do what you need to do to start with, and it'll save you so much heartache and headache and stress and all of that stuff. Just do what you need to do up front, and don't wait for, your world to come crashing down and you're like, oh crap, now I have to really get it in gear. Start with that mindset of, I have my back against the wall, even if you may not, because you will do so much more work and you'll be so much more successful if you have that mindset of, I don't have another option. This is all I have. This is what I'm doing to get the life that I want. This is what I'm doing to be able to spend time with my family and be able to go on all these extravagant trips and be able to just lay around the house one day if I don't want to do anything. That is how you have to treat it. So how do you change that narrative from I can't do this, I don't have time, I don't have this, I don't do that, all of that? How do you change it to be so positive? Because I know for me, that was a big deal. I was like, I don't really know how to make myself believe in myself, basically. I needed to believe in myself. I needed to know that I could do it. And at first, I really didn't. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea what's going on. I don't know how any of this works. Like, I booked travel for myself, but that was pretty much it. Like, I had never talked to clients. I had never had clients or anything like that. So how did I change my way of thinking, basically? So what I did is I thought of all of the things I wanted to achieve, big and small. So whether it was a business goal, a personal goal, whether it was I want to book 3 trips this month, or whether it was I want to be a millionaire, whatever it is, write all of those things down on a piece of paper. Don't just think about them, actually physically write them down, what you want from, now until the end of your life. Don't just think, what do I want in this year? Think of all the things from now until the end of what you want to achieve, what you want to have, what you want to be able to give to others, or whatever the case is for you. Figure out what those things are and write them down. And be very specific with those things. So personally for me, I saw this challenge on TikTok and I wrote down 300 basically like manifestation sentences, and I read them every single morning. And it was from Steve Harvey, and he basically said if you do that every morning for a year, then he could almost guarantee that 10% of those things would come true. And I can go ahead and tell you guys that a lot of the things on my list that I just started a month and a half ago have already started happening and falling into place. And it's all because of your mindset. And when you change your mindset, you can see things for what they are and the opportunity that they are, instead of seeing them as a challenge or like a bad challenge that you can't do, or as an obstacle that you can't overcome, or whatever the case may be. You start to open your mind and see things a little bit differently, and see things as, I can do this. I can succeed in this business. I can be successful. I can provide a life for my family that I have always wanted, and things like that. So be specific with what you want and write them down, make a vision board, whatever works for you. But make sure you have it to where you can go back to it and look at it. So whether that's earning a certain amount of money every month or every year, hitting a certain rank with team building, taking your kids on trips, paying off debt, whatever it is for you, write those things down. It doesn't necessarily have to be business related, but that's just what I did for the sake of this training. And then write down a plan to achieve those goals. So turn your big goals into smaller goals and smaller tasks, because I know when I look at a piece of paper and I say, I want to be a millionaire, that sounds great, but I have no idea how to get there. So I have to break it down into, okay, if I want to be a millionaire, this is how much I have to make every single month. And then I break it down into, okay, well, this is how much travel, a guesstimate of how much travel I need to book every single month. And how am I going to do that? So that's when I turn it into the weekly and daily tasks. So posting my mock booking every single day, morning, afternoon, and night, posting on TikTok, sharing my business cards, sharing on other social media sites, talking to people in person that I've never met, giving them my information, whatever it is, write down a plan to achieve your goals. So personally for me, one of my goals is to book 3 trips every single month, which may not sound like a lot. And honestly, for me, it's really not. I usually go much higher than that. However, that is like my baseline goal for what I want. So what I do for my monthly goal is the 3 trips. So the weekly and daily tasks turn into mock bookings every single day, TikTok every single day, sharing my business cards, sharing with friends and family, sharing with strangers. I have to do that X amount of time per week to consider myself successful in achieving my goals. And that has worked for me so far. So I'm going to continue to do that. And then when you write down that plan, actually do what you say you're going to do. Don't give yourself the space to be like, oh, well, I wanted to do that, but now I don't really care. I'm not going to do it anymore. If you don't like to do certain things, don't put those in your plan. If you really, really, really hate talking to people, as much as I want to say, go out and do it anyway, because that's what I have done, and I've gotten out of my comfort zone and I've talked to people. If you absolutely cannot stand the thought of talking to strangers and it like makes you sweat and you get clammy and you can't say anything, that I understand that. So don't put those things in your plan. Figure out other things that you are good at and that you have no problem doing. And obviously put some things on there that might make you a little bit uncomfortable, but not to the point where you're like, oh my God, I'm going to die right here, right now. Put things in your plan that you know you are going to do and actually do them. Don't make excuses for yourself. Well, I I didn't have time to post my mock booking today. You have your phone in your hand all the time. Post something, share something into a group. Even if you can't do it morning, afternoon, and night, if you can just share it, a couple times every single day, that is better than nothing. So find what you can do and what you will do and actually put that into place. Another thing that I do is I imagine that I already have all the things that I want and I act like I have them every single day. So I'm not a millionaire, and I think everybody pretty much knows I'm not a millionaire, but I have millionaire mentality is what I've heard people call it, of like, I don't go out and, spend all this money that I don't have, but I think of my life as if I was a millionaire. Like, I have this, I have that, even though I don't, have the dream car in my driveway. I don't have a dream house. Like, we live in a camper right now. We don't have our dream house, but I'm working towards that. So I always, whenever I go through my list every morning, I kind of picture myself in that scenario. And that kind of helps you change the way you think of like, okay, you know that you don't have it, but you are more likely to go towards those things if you pretend that you do. So it's kind of, I don't want to say it's like a fake world, but you have to, like I said, imagine that you have these things and kind of go from there, because that has really changed my mindset of like, okay, I can do this. I can get these things. And I just pretend like I already have them. And then one day I will, because it's all in your mindset. If you think that you have it or you pretend that you have it, one day you are going to get there, as long as you are dedicated to actually making it happen. Like I said before, instead of making excuses, so all those things that I went over before, instead of making excuses, turn that into fuel to do better and to succeed in your business. So for those of you that are like, I don't have enough time to do this, work harder at it so that you can have the free time to do whatever you want. For those of you that say you have kids, work harder at this so you can spend time with your kids and you don't have to miss things for your kids, and you can give your kids a wonderful life that they are super, super appreciative of, and all of that good stuff. So turn it into your why. And if you don't have a why, you should find one. And as I always say, if your why doesn't make you cry, it's not strong enough. So if I really got into mine, I can tell you guys, I would be in tears. Like, I would be bawling my eyeballs out. So if you don't have a why, you don't have your purpose of why you're doing this, find it. Even if you aren't married and you don't have kids and it's just you, if it's just you want freedom to do what you want, when you want to be able to travel, then that's your why, and that's fine. It doesn't necessarily have to be like, I have absolutely no money, we're about to get kicked out of our house and I have to make this work so that my kids aren't homeless. It doesn't always have to be that deep. If it is, that's great, whatever. But it doesn't have to be that way. You just have to find something that is like, okay, why am I doing this? Because if you have no reason as to why you're doing this, obviously you're not going to put all your effort into it. So figure out what it is that makes you be like, I got to get to this point in my life. I have to reach this goal, and make that why you do what you do. So kind of like I said, I don't have time for this because I still work full time. Change that narrative, change your thought process to, I need to work hard every chance I get so I don't have to go back to that job that I don't like. For me, this was a huge one. Again, for those of you that say, well, I have kids to support, I don't have time for this, I don't have the money for this, turn that into, I have to make this work because I have kids to support. So you just kind of have to change the way you think. So again, for those of you that say, my family doesn't support me, that's exactly the position I am currently in. I have changed my thought to, okay, well, I'm just going to market myself literally everywhere I can. So I book trips for people I don't know. And I have a map of the US. So every time I book a trip for somebody, I color in the state that they're from. I grew up in North Carolina my entire life. I went to school in South Carolina for a couple years, but for the majority of my life, I have been in North Carolina, and I have booked trips in over 11 states for they are. I have before, never spoke to them before until I did my phone call with them as a client, all of that stuff. And that is how I have been successful, because I didn't let the fact that my family doesn't support me stop me. I used it as fuel to be like, I don't care if my family doesn't support me, because somebody else will. Somebody else will spend their money with me. I will make money somewhere else. I don't need to constantly beg my friends and family to support me, because all these other people out here still need vacations and they still need me to book their trips. So if my family doesn't want me to book their trip, that's fine, but somebody else does. And that's with me. I don't care who I'm booking the trip for, as long as the trips are getting booked. So I just kind of had to change that mindset to, instead of having a pity party for myself and saying all these things are against me, turning that into against me, but I'm going to overcome it anyway. And that is exactly what I had to do. So what you focus on becomes your reality. So making excuses is allowing yourself to not try to succeed, not allowing yourself to try to be good at this travel agent thing, as people like to call it. So like I said, if you make excuses, you're just giving yourself the opportunity to not succeed and not do what you need to do, because you've already got it in your head, oh, well, I can't do it because of this thing. but really you can do it. You just don't want to do it. So that's where the shift is. You have to realize that sometimes you have to do things you don't really want to get where you want to be. And that's okay, because at the end of the day, you're going to thank yourself for it later. If you focus on being successful, you act like you already are, and you truly believe that you are successful, it will happen. So for me, like I said, when I first started this as my full-time, I was not making full-time money, and I knew that I wasn't making full-time money, and I knew that I was going to have to really get my butt in gear quickly to make some money because we had bills to pay. And so I was like, you know what? I'm successful. I'm the best travel agent. Every single morning I would wake up and tell myself those things. And whenever I would get a booking, I'm like, this is the greatest thing I have ever done. And I really like celebrated myself in every little single thing that I did. And then from there, it just kind of kept escalating, because once you have that energy of I'm successful, I know what I'm doing, I'm the best at this, your clients will start to hear that and feel that, and they will trust in you so much more, and they will recommend people to you all the time, because that is exactly what has happened to me. They're like, you are so confident in what you do. And even when I have no idea what the heck I'm talking about, I pretend I do anyway, and nobody knows any different. So fake it till you make it if you got to, because that's what I did for a good little portion of my journey in this travel agent deal. Like I said before, you need to start seeing things as opportunities instead of obstacles. So say, you got laid off from work. That really, really sucks, because you're like, I have bills to pay. What am I going to do? I just got laid off. Use that as, okay, I got laid off from this job, but now I have 40 hours in the week to dedicate to my business, to go out and talk to people, to go to networking events, to do X, Y, and Z, to promote my business and make money. So yeah, it really sucks at the time, but if you can flip it around to make it something positive, then your life will be so much better for it. And you will truly start to see so many things as opportunities that you never saw before. So for me, I posted this on Facebook as well, in some of the groups. I don't know if you guys saw it, but I used to never really use LinkedIn. I used it for team building, and that was basically it. But I recently started posting a lot on LinkedIn, which I really don't enjoy doing because it takes up time that I could be doing other stuff. But I did it anyway, because I was like, well, let's just see where this goes, because I had heard other people having a lot of success on LinkedIn from networking groups that I'm in. So I started posting on there, and then someone from David's Bridal reached out to me to ask if I wanted to be part of their app for destination weddings and honeymoons. And of course I said yes, because it's David's Bridal. Like, that is a huge brand name across the country. And there are so many people that use them. And then if I can be associated with them, then that gives me so much more credibility. And I would have never had that opportunity before if I didn't start taking things serious that I didn't really care too much about. So, the next thing, put the energy you use to make excuses into working your business instead. So if you want to sit here for 30 minutes and have a pity party of, I don't have time, I have kids that take up, all this, I have to go to sports, I have to do this, I have to go to work, I got to do all that. All the time you put into making those excuses, you could do working your business instead, and you would see so much better results. So I used to have little pity parties all the time. I'm like, gosh, I really don't want to do this when I get home from work today. Like, I'm so tired, I'm so drained. But I started doing it anyway, because that's what it takes to be successful. You got to do stuff even when you don't necessarily want to. And I'm not saying, work yourself to the bone to where you have no energy to do anything ever. But sometimes it does take a little bit of sacrifice. And, you kind of have to be like, okay, well, this is an excuse. I just said I don't have time, but I've sat here for 10 minutes scrolling through TikTok doing nothing. You could have spent that 10 minutes working on your business. So that is my little piece of advice there, because I used to definitely be a big, big excuse maker. And I learned that I wasn't getting anywhere with that. The only place I was getting was right where I was. I wasn't moving forward. I wasn't necessarily moving backwards, but I definitely wasn't getting anywhere. So I just kind of turned that into, okay, instead of saying I don't have time, I'm going to make the time, because I need to make money. I need to pay these bills, all of that good stuff. And last, I want you to be serious about your success. And these are, I think there's 4 on here. I read the book, You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. If you haven't read that, I strongly recommend it. Super good read, super good, like, self-help, being productive and believing in yourself kind of book. So these all came from that, but I definitely think that you guys need to hear them. So if you're serious about changing your life, you will find a way. And if you're not, you will find an excuse. So for those of you that are just trying this thing out, you're going to find excuses. If you are here and you're like, no, I'm changing my life, I'm quitting my job, I'm going to take care of my family, we're going to go on vacations, then you're going to find a way to do that. So the first thing is to remember that done is better than perfect. So stop thinking about things so much. Just make the post, make the call, share the business card, whatever it is. Like I said before, 20 minutes of work is better than 0 minutes of work. So If your post has some typos and it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, at least you got the post up. If you make a phone call to a client and you've never talked on the phone with a stranger before and you stutter the way through, at least you made the phone call. You made a step in the right direction. You made a step to get out of your comfort zone. And that is what starts the whole domino effect of being successful. Second, you need to notice where you stop. So figure out what part of your day sucks the most, makes you the most uncomfortable, is the thing you really, really do not want to do every single day. And when you figure out what that is, you can prepare yourself more and get rid of distractions that surround that thing. So for me, when I first started, my thing that made me stop was knowing that I had to call clients. And at first, I didn't really have like a schedule for that. But now I'm like, no, I am setting a time with this client. This is the day I have free. This is the day I'm not doing trainings. I'm not doing, X, Y, and Z. I have family stuff going on. I don't have personal stuff going on. This is the day I'm going to dedicate to client phone calls. And so that's when I set those. And then I make sure when that time comes, like I don't have anything else going on that day that can distract me from that phone call with that client. So pretty much what I had to do with that. And for some of you, talking on the phone may be the easy part. Social media may be the hard part for you. And you go to post on Facebook, but really you just end up scrolling for 20 minutes. So what I do is on Sunday, I will schedule out my posts for the week and I sit down and I set a timer. I'm like, this is what I'm doing for the next 30, 45 minutes, whatever it is. I'm going to take that time and I'm going to do nothing but schedule posts through Meta Business Suite so that I don't have to, when the time comes and I'm like, oh, I need to post this, I don't go into Facebook and then I scroll for 20 minutes because I've already got them scheduled. And then it takes less time out of my week because I'm not wasting time scrolling through Facebook. It's already done for me. So whatever it is that makes you be like, oh my God, I cannot do this. I'm nervous. I'm scared. I'm super uncomfortable. Whatever it is that you get distracted from doing, figure out a time in your week or your schedule or whatever that you can do that thing and get rid of all your other distractions. So I know another thing for me is TikTok. So I do the same thing with TikTok. I schedule those posts. I make them ahead of time because if I don't, I'm going to sit and scroll through TikTok for 3 hours. Like it is what it is. So that is how I kind of overcame that, I guess. So just figure out what makes you uncomfortable and figure out, what you need to do to prepare yourself. If you hate talking on the phone and you need to give yourself a pep talk before and you got to like hype yourself up for 10 minutes, if you need somebody to do that for you, you can call me. I'll be like, you got this. You can make this phone call. This is what you're going to say. This is how it's going to go. It's going to be wonderful. Be your own hype man and prepare yourself for it so that when you get on the phone, you're not like, oh my God, what do I do? I don't know what to say. And you just sit there in silence and clients are like, what the heck is going on? So third, make a bet with someone. And in the book, it says make a bet with someone mean. And basically what she said is to dumb it down, find somebody who will hold you accountable and have something at stake for it. So in the book that I read, she was talking about, make a bet with someone mean, like bet them $100. And I don't bet money because I don't like to give away money. But I know if I did bet somebody $100, you best believe I would be getting that thing done. So even if it's just something small, like I want to book, we'll just say $10,000 in travel this month. And if I do, then I'm going to give myself a day off of work. That's something I do for myself. And my like accountability partner, my husband, is always like, what are you doing today? Are you working? Like, whatever. But I also have other agents that hold me accountable. And, there are accountability partners and all of that stuff. So try to do that. Find somebody, even if they're not an agent, whether it's a family, friend, whatever it is, find somebody who will hold you accountable. And like I said, have something at stake for it. So if you're like, I really, really want to go see this movie or whatever, but I need to do X, Y, and Z before I can do that, that's your something at stake. It doesn't always have to be something huge, but it does need to be something that makes you like really want to work for it. And it's not just like, okay, well, if I don't get that, then it doesn't matter, because then obviously you're not going to work super hard for it. So I know for me, I told myself that I wanted to book $100,000 in travel this year. And if I do, then our whole family is going to go on a trip, and I'm hopefully going to be able to get really good rates and also pay for a big portion of it, because my family has been really great to me and I want to be able to give back to them. And as we stand right now, I'm almost at $78,000 for the year. So I'm really, really close to that. And I have told all of them about it. So they are like counting on me to do this because they want to go on this vacation too. And I don't want to let my family down. I don't want to take that time away from them and all of that stuff. So find somebody who will hold you accountable and have something at stake for your goals to make sure that you achieve them. And last, own it and work with it. And so what I mean by that is figure out how much time it's going to take you to do that one thing, and then go do something else until the clock starts ticking. So basically, if you know that this quote is going to take you 2 hours, but you don't have to have it done until, let's see, what's today, Monday. If you don't have to have that quote done until Friday, because that's what you told your client, you know it's going to take you 2 hours, then I'm not going to sit here and stress about this quote all week, because I know I'm just going to do it on Friday, 2 hours before I need to call her. Like, I might look over a couple of things, but I'm not really going to dig in until I know that I absolutely have to get it done, because like I said before, I'm a procrastinator and I don't like to, do things right when I should. I like to wait till the last minute because I do better under pressure. So again, just figure out how long it's going to take. And if you don't know how long it's going to take, guess. Get a ballpark time. If you think that it might only take you 30 minutes, but it could take you an hour, give yourself an hour. And then that kind of goes back into scheduling stuff. If you don't have, the freedom to work, whenever you want all day, every day, because you have a full-time job or you have kids or whatever, figure out, what times you do have available so you can fit those little things into those boxes that you have of time, if that makes sense. So like I said, I'm a procrastinator. I do well under pressure. So I'm not going to stress about something that doesn't need to be done for 3 more weeks. Like, I'm going on a trip in January. I don't need to worry about that until January comes, because I don't have to pay for it until then. So I know that I'm not going to worry about it until that point. So my last thing that I'm going to leave you guys with is to stop putting your worth in other people and believe in yourself, because you owe it to yourself to succeed in all you do. So again, this kind of goes back to people not supporting you. Stop letting your worth be defined by what other people think of you, what other people think of your business, whatever it is. They're not the one running the business. They're not the one making you money. So why does their opinion matter? And I know, again, that's easier said than done. For me, if I'm over here succeeding and I'm making the money and I'm meeting all the goals and the things that I wanted to do, then I don't really care what you have to say, because I did what I said I was going to do. And you didn't believe in that, and that's cool, but I still did it anyway. And again, you owe it to yourself to succeed. You don't want to sit there, because if you fail, all you're going to think about is, oh my gosh, I didn't do a good job at this. I failed at this. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. All of that stuff. So you owe it to yourself to succeed and to be proud of yourself and to believe that you are the best travel agent there is, because you are. We all are. We don't all have the same clients, and our clients don't know all of us. They don't know that there's over 10,000 of us in this company, and that's fine, because all they need to know is that you are the best travel agent for them, and you're going to do what needs to be done to get them on their trip and everything like that. So I got 2 minutes to spare and I have over 100 chats. So let me go back up to the top. I'm going to start recording this just because it's long.